This is a show about jewelry, why we wear it, why it matters, how it's made, and what it means. I'm Alex D, and I turn cannabis into gold. I make mind-blowing jewelry in gold, silver, and platinum from cannabis plants here in Canada for stage, screen, for people who want to rock crazy jewelry. I'm the Cannabis Goldsmith. Happy 420, everybody. Oh my God, it's Sunday. It's fallen on Easter Sunday. This is fabulous. Anyway, this morning I got up, first thing this morning, 420, I rolled a spliff of, I rolled a joint of AK-47 that I grew myself over the winter in indoors here in Canada. And we can do that. We can grow 4 plants here in Canada year round. So I got a tent, a small tent, a 3-foot by 3-foot tent a couple years ago, and I started experimenting growing cannabis in the tent and learning and growing it outdoors, you know, with my 4 plant limit. And this winter I grew this AK-47 in the dead of winter. And it just watching it grow and watching it in the tent. Look, in Canada, in February, it's bleak. There's snow everywhere. There's no color. It's just grim overhead skies. It can be really depressing. There's a thing called seasonal affective disorder where people actually get depressed because there's no light, there's no joy in the vibe around everyone, right? So I thought, oh, well, I'll grow something. And so every morning I would go out there and just check on the plant, see how it was doing. And, you know, you zip open these tents. What these grow tents are like, they're like a big black tent, a square, like a phone booth is a wrong analogy because nobody knows what that is anymore. But it's like a box, right? A vertical box, 3 feet by 3 feet by 6 feet tall. And it's lined with shiny reflective material that reflects the light back into the tent. But on the outside, it's black and it blocks light from leaving. So you can have it in your apartment or whatever, and nobody can see light coming out of it. It just looks like a black rectangle, you know, like in 2001 Space Odyssey. I started just tinkering and experimenting, and this summer I grew this AK-47, so it turned out really nicely. And it's the first time I bought seeds from illegal, the first time I bought legal seeds, you know, from the tax-stamped cannabis, legal cannabis stores in Canada. You can buy seeds. You can actually order them online from legal cannabis distributors in Canada. So before I was growing seeds from reputable established seed houses in Canada, and I was quite happy with them until recently. There have been some mishaps with the seeds that I've purchased from my seed suppliers. So I thought maybe I'll try some legal seed and see what happens. So I grew this AK-47, and it was nice. It finished really quickly, like in about 60 days or 65 days or something. It was an auto flower, which means it flowers after a certain number of days automatically, no matter what, right? Once the seed is germinated, if it auto flowers in 70 days, it'll be there in 70 days. So I grew this thing, and anyway, this morning I went out and I thought, oh, it's 420. So I rolled up a spliff of this AK. It's not really fully cured yet, but it's fine. And I don't, it's just for me. So, anyway. So I sat out this morning. It's freezing this morning. Lit the wood stove in the kitchen. So that's roaring down there, warming up the house. And I sat outside and before dawn watched the sunrise as I smoked a bit of my AK-47. Only half a joint of it because it's strong. So I'm an old guy. Remember, I'm a teetotaler mostly. I don't drink. So the I can handle my cannabis too, but this is when you start growing it yourself, you're like, you realize how much better it can be than what you buy in the shops. So that's it. This morning I was sitting out there watching the sunrise and looking around the yard for my spirit animal, Happy, the rabbit, the eastern cottontail rabbit who lives in my woodshed, who spent the winter in my woodshed again this year. And I fed him some carrot pieces during the dead of February, when it was really January and February. It was really bleak here. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to give him something. He's got no grass to graze on. What do they even eat in the winter, right? So I went to the grocer and got a bag of carrots, and just these horse carrots, these, giant carrots, right? Chopped them up. I chopped up a carrot, put it in a little pile out by the woodshed, and after a few days, they were gone, right? So I knew somebody was eating them. And then I went out and I put some more out there, not like the next day, but I gave it a few days. And then I looked out and I saw Happy, the rabbit, out there eating the carrots. And I was thinking, yep, that's him. He's at least he's not going to get scurvy this winter. So anyway, and then a couple weeks later, I put out another carrot chopped up for him, and he brought a friend along. So they were actually both waiting out there for more carrots. Like there was nothing, and I thought, geez, now they're expecting the damn carrot slices. But anyway, I put another carrot out there for them, and the Happy and his new friend ate them. So anyway, I was out there this morning, smoking my AK. The bunny was nowhere in sight, and he's my spirit animal. And I was thinking it's Easter Sunday, and it would be a great thing to see the rabbit today. But I didn't see him this morning. I saw him yesterday, though. He was there grazing on the grass, which is rapidly turning green. All the snow is melted now. Last week we had a second snow fall. It's just crazy winter here, and now the grass is all greening up, and the rabbit was out there munching on the grass. And very wary, ears pivoting around, just kind of fully aware of what's going on. Because there's owls here. My neighbor, I was picking up the fallen branches on the property the other day, and the neighbor walked by and he said he saw a big owl on my property. So there's predators here. Happy, keep your head down low on this land, because there's eagles here. You see them circling overhead, and now owls, and huge crows too, which I think are cool. There's this dude, and I've seen these videos. I think they're TikTok videos or Instagram videos or whatever. And there's this dude in, I think it looks like Hong Kong. I might have talked about this before. He's this dude who's trained a crow to fly out in this heavily urbanized environment. It's all tall apartment buildings and blocks of flats and all compressed, like in Hong Kong, really tight, right? And he's there in his apartment. He's got this crow, and he sends the crow out, and the crow comes back with money, opens this drawer and puts the money in the drawer. And the drawer is filled to the brim with bills, of different denominations, different currencies that you can see from other lands and stuff. And this drawer filled with money. On this crow, he's trained this crow to go out, and I don't know where the crow gets it. I don't think the crow goes into banks or whatever and steals it from banks, but the crow probably, has good eyesight and can see the currency that's been blown out of somebody's hand and is in a ditch somewhere, picking up all this money and bringing it back to the guy in Hong Kong, who is in his, 55th floor shoebox apartment, getting rich. And I was thinking, fuck, this is great. What a fabulous idea. I've got crows all over this property. There's 2 crow's nests that I'm aware of here, and they're still here. Since I moved out, they haven't moved. They are here. They were here before me, and they'll probably be here long after me. So I was thinking, if I could train one of these guys to fly across the river to the U.S. and look for U.S. dollars, because you all know the U.S. dollar and the Canadian dollar. The U.S. dollar is worth substantially more than the Canadian dollar. And I'm thinking all their money is the same, basically the same color, right? It all looks the same except for the denominations. And I think crows can even identify the numbers on stuff. I don't know. I'll have to do more research on that. But can you imagine? I could just like send the dude over. He'd fly across the river, look for the U.S. dollars, the lost U.S. dollars, fly them back over and put them in a bucket or whatever. Now, this is what I'm thinking. You know, as an old guy, almost fully retired here now, but not quite, on the river in Upper Canada, right next to the United States, who is now a belligerent enemy of our country. Imagine I could just send a crow over and just get rich on U.S. dollars. I'm thinking, this is how I got to figure out how to do this. And then, so I started seeing all these kind of videos on YouTube and stuff of these guys. There's one guy, I think in Norway, who trains crows or who tests them or whatever. And he can get them to sort blocks into different shapes and do all kinds of like intellectual and physical sorting tasks, right? But dude, like, if they can do that, what are you getting them to sort plastic blocks for? Fly them over to the States and get U.S. dollars and get them out of the country before the U.S. dollar collapses, like before it's no longer the world's reserve currency, as it seems to be, heading in the direction of losing all credibility. The crow could just like clean up. So I'm wondering how long it would take to train a crow to make me wealthy on U.S. dollars. Imagine if you had a whole team of them, like 6, right? 6 or 7. They'd go off, they'd come back, they'd fill your bucket up with whatever. And you could say diamond rings, like whatever. Go across, bring back lost diamond rings. You can see them from height with your crow eyes, and just drop them in the bucket. So it'll be like diamond rings, $100 bills. Train them that narrowly for those 2 things, and then or 50s. I don't know if they have 50s in the States anymore. Probably. Anyway, so that's what I was thinking as I was sitting there on the deck watching the sunrise. Today is Easter Sunday, and I'm invited to a dinner. My old friends in my new old friends in the little hamlet I live in here have invited me for Easter supper tonight. So I said I would bring a dessert. So today I'm going to bake a dessert for them. And I'm going to bake not a pineapple upside down cake, but it's based on a pineapple upside down cake recipe. I'm making peach upside down cake. And I got peaches. These are canned peaches, but they're from South Africa. And if you're ever in a store and you see canned peaches in the shelves at your grocer, look at the source of where they come from. Now, South African canned peaches are the best. They're also the least expensive for some reason. I have no idea why. The ones from Greece are usually, I guess it's seasonal. Whenever they harvest the peaches, they can them. These big food companies can them and then send them off around the world. But look at the source. And if you see peaches from from South Africa, and you open them and you have a slice, absolutely different taste. You can taste the African sun in these peaches. So anyway, now they're packing them in water and light syrup. Before it used to be heavy syrup. So it was like a jar of honey with like a peach slice in it. But no, they've changed it. They're I guess trending towards more healthiness or whatever. So they're packing them in water, in spring water now. So I've got these tins of South African peach slices in spring water, and I'm gonna fish them out of the tins. I'm gonna drain them. I'm going to dust them down with a paper towel, not wipe them, but just pat them dry with a paper towel to make sure that they don't get all overly mushy in the baking. And then I'm going to bake a peach upside down cake from scratch with South African peaches. And that's the dessert I'm going to bring tonight. So that's what I'm going to bake today, this morning. And this will give me some time. It takes, I guess, it'll be a couple hours, this whole process to bake this dessert. So I'm going to start early, and I am going to do all my consumption, my cannabis consumption, in the morning, because I'm not driving anywhere. Yesterday I did tons of driving, so I didn't consume yesterday. But today, look out, it's 4:20. So I've been on the deck already watching the sun. I've smoked a half an AK. I am going to bake a scratch upside down a peach upside down cake, and then if it fails, I'll still have enough time to try it again, or find some other dessert to bring over. But I haven't baked one in a while, so we'll see. And also, I'm baking using a new oven. The last oven I baked in was different, so I knew the other oven, but I don't know this one. And it might be too hot. It might not be hot enough to do to what it says on the thermometer on the oven. These are the things you have to be concerned about while baking. But since I'm going to be totally baked while baking, I'm not going to be too stressed about it. I'm just going to relax into baking a nice peach upside down cake. Now, yesterday I did all my driving. Today I can smoke as much as I want today. Well, no, not really. Just in the morning. I want to be mostly clear-headed when I go to dinner tonight with my friends. But this morning I can. It's 4:20 after all. I can indulge, right? So and time is a flat circle, so it doesn't matter if it's before noon or not. On 4:20, you can go whatever, go crazy. Now, I'm not advocating for drug use here. I'm saying if you live in a legal state, country, province, land, go crazy. So anyway, yesterday, every year I go up to this town called Delta in Ontario. They have the Delta Maple Syrup Festival. And it's a very old festival. It's been going on for 90 years or something. It's long, old. It's not very big. It's quite tiny. But there's some good maple syrup. And there's a dude there, Leonard Vincent, who makes the kind of maple syrup that I like. Amber, it has taste. It's not the stuff you buy that's clear, that has a very light taste. No, I want some taste. If I'm buying maple syrup, I want it to taste like maple syrup. So anyway, I found this guy, Leonard Vincent, who makes his own maple syrup, and I bought a half gallon. Every year I buy a half gallon, and it lasts me for the full year. I keep it in the fridge. So I went up there just to get that, and it's quite a long drive, but a pleasant drive up to Delta. It's going uphill from the river here, going up, and you get into this beautiful farmland and winding roads. If you've ever been to New Hampshire, up Vermont, upstate New York, that's the same area, right? And that's what it's like. But there'll be old wooden barns. There'll be horses grazing now. Rock, you'll see, because this is the Canadian Shield. There'll be rock, right? Like a sedimentary rock, a rock that's in layers that stacked up, and with vegetation growing around it. It's just beautiful. Anyway, and everything is starting to green. The leaves are not on the trees yet. The buds are on the trees. So there's this sense that everything is just about to explode into bloom and leaf and all that. So I'm driving up to Delta, and it was warm yesterday, strangely, when I got up there. And I bought this maple syrup and walked around. And they have a great book sale. I guess the local library sells off the books that they don't need anymore or whatever. And you can get good books at cheap prices. So I went up and I bought books there previous years, but this year I didn't see anything, so I didn't buy anything. But I went up, I had an ice cream cone at the local ice cream shop, and then I came back. But before that, I went for breakfast at the fire hall in Spencerville. And now the firemen in our township here, the Edwardsburg Cardinal Township, decided to have a fundraising breakfast with maple syrup on pancakes. And there's nothing that can get me to a breakfast faster than real maple syrup on pancakes. But I thought, firemen is a good thing here in this rural area that I live, so I'm going to go support. So before I go to the Maple Syrup Festival, I need some energy. So I went to Spencerville to this fire hall, and the firemen there had taken all their newer trucks out and parked them in the parking lot outside. And it opened up their whole fire hall. They left a couple of old trucks in there, like the older, vintage ones, all clean and polished and shiny. And then they put tables right in the middle of this fire station, long tables. And then they had a breakfast buffet set up with firemen serving breakfast. And it was delicious. And the breakfast was just fantastic. And just people from the community showing up and having breakfast and whatever. And it was like $12, So I went, I had this huge breakfast and sat next to this elderly couple. And the dude was telling me, he said, I was the fireman here back in the day before they had this new firehouse. I was one of the first guys here, he was saying, and the first fireman. And he was telling me how they didn't have any equipment. They didn't have any trucks. They didn't have anything. They had to convince some local farmer to give them a truck, an old tanker truck they used for fuel, and converted it into a water tanker they could use to put fires out with. And he said that was the extent of their machinery back then. And now, sitting on this fire hall with the community, members of my community and firemen and police and whoever else who were there gorfing down this delicious breakfast. It was like, yeah, this is great. I love this. No, I love this area. I love Canada. I love Upper Canada. And these community events that I'm going to, I forced myself when I first moved here to go to community events just to see what the hell was happening in this area and to connect with the community in any way I could, or just to watch it and see what it's about. And I've since learned this is a very, very strong, very Canadian, very proud, very industrious community here. We work hard. We work really hard. We love the outdoors. We love the river here. We love our farms, and we love our communities. This is what I've learned about this area. But I learned it by going to things like, the fireman's breakfast yesterday. I've been to ladies' auxiliary breakfasts. I had no idea what a lady auxiliary breakfast is, but I'll go for a breakfast wherever. So I went and, went there, talked to people. I'll go to art gallery, art exhibits. I'll I just want to go out and meet and talk to people in the area and see what they're about and observe mostly and to watch and to see. So I can talk and write about it in my monthly column and so that I can ground myself into Canada. Because, we're in a time right now that's, it's crazy. And if it wasn't for the cannabis, I think it would be much, much worse. I think a lot of times when one thing happens, the opposite happens. So when things get really, really bad, suddenly somebody shows up at your door to help. Now, it doesn't always happen, but it happens sometimes. And I think this is with cannabis. Cannabis has shown up here in Canada to help. So it's helping us cope with the insanity of the world, I think. It's helping me cope anyway. So today I'm going to do baking. I've lit the wood stove. Hopefully I'll get this upside down cake right the first try. And I hate throwing away food. This is something my parents have. This is parental baggage. Don't throw away food, But I don't want to throw away food. I want to hit this. I want to nail this upside down cake the first time. Now, I had a really good recipe for it, an upside down cake from my mom. And this is the one I baked previously. And I'm like, oh God, where is it? And I've torn the place apart looking for this recipe. I have all her old recipes, but I can't find this particular recipe. So I had to search for another and then try and remember what hers was about. And I asked, of course, ChatGPT, And ChatGPT came out with a recipe that seems kind of close to what I used to do. So I'm going to use Chat's recipe today for Easter. And then we'll see if it works, if it comes out okay. So we have a big week ahead of us in Canada. It's huge. We have an election coming up. I'm not going to talk about it too much here. I'll talk about it on Wednesday's show because I've already recorded Wednesday's show, and it's a zinger. It's coming out on Wednesday. And you know what? I before I go here and allow you to forget about me till Wednesday so you can go enjoy your families. Remember, don't consume and drive or operate machinery. But if you're marooned, you can nip out. If you can nip outside the house for a joint with fellow aficionados during your Easter celebrations. There's nothing wrong with that in Canada anyway, or states or countries where it is legal. So do that. Just nip out and then come back refreshed. But anyway, where was I? Oh God. Oh yeah, there's so much shit coming down the pipe this week. It's going to be crazy. But before I go, I just want to tell you, I'm just shocked. I'm absolutely shocked to hear that this podcast is the number 4 jewelry design podcast in the world. Can you believe this? I haven't even advertised it yet. I haven't done anything yet. There's no video for this show yet. It's just a regular show that comes out on time from a real studio, a real artist design studio in Canada on the St. Lawrence River. You know, I'm right next to the Americans. Maybe that's why people are listening to the show. They're listening to me talk about the relationship between Canada and the U.S., what it feels like to live right next to the United States as their country, as they destroy themselves. Maybe that's why people are tuning in, or maybe they're tuning in for the cannabis content. And there hasn't been any on my show for a while. I don't talk about cannabis. I make jewelry from cannabis, but I don't really talk about it. And except for today's show, which is the 420 emergency special. But since I've worked with cannabis now, not just growing it, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, but making jewelry from it, making jewelry designs from it, I've watched it so closely as it grows from seed to harvest. I pick leaves off it. I cast them into jewelry pieces. I make different belt buckles and rings and bracelets and in precious metal from the cannabis plant. And since I've worked so closely with it for so long, it's become like an old friend to me. And it's different each time. Every plant I grow is different. Like every single one is slightly different and has character. And this is what I hope to introduce into the jewelry pieces I make from the plant. And I guess this is why people buy them from us, because they know that we're authentic, real, and we live the work we do. Oh, that's it for me. I'm going to get my tools ready to bake this upside down, this peach upside down cake based, it seems, on a pineapple upside down cake recipe. I guess the fruit is interchangeable, perhaps. Anyway, we will see. So this is the baking. I'm going to crack my knuckles, put on the baking apron, and I have a little baking hat too, I think. I'm going to maybe finish off the other half of that joint out there, and then I'm going to turn on the oven to 350 and make sure that the temperature is accurate. I think I have another thermometer here somewhere if I can find it. Anyway, then I'm gonna make this cake. I'll take a picture of it, and maybe I will upload a picture on Wednesday's episode, because believe me, Wednesday's episode is going to be a humdinger, and we might need some dessert after, just for digestive purposes. Anyway, that's it for me. Happy 420, everyone. Enjoy your day. Be safe. Remember, don't consume and drive. But if you're marooned at home with your family and they're driving you absolutely batshit, it's 420. Remember that. And seek out fellow 420ists and take a walk into the backyard. That's it. See you on Wednesday. The Cannabis Goldsmith is produced by Tribe Communications Inc. in the Thousand Islands area of Ontario, Canada. We recorded in our studio in southeastern Ontario along the St. Lawrence River, where we can see America across the river. Subscribe to the Cannabis Goldsmith wherever you get your podcasts. Follow the show and tell your fellow artist friends about it. It's the only artist podcast coming to you right from a studio every Wednesday morning. We'll see you next week on the Cannabis Goldsmith. Oh, if you want to reach me, send me an email, alexd@cannabisgoldsmith.com. Thanks for listening.